Alright, so I'm doing case 7-2, Solutions Network, and in this case, I'm just over the facts of the case. Then Sarah Young, who's a controller, got into a debate with Paul Henley, who's a CFO, about when to recognize revenue. So Sarah argues that because the contract has not been fulfilled, the revenue should be recognized in the following year. The sale was made like December 28th. Paul Henley, the CFO, argues that the revenue should be recognized in the current year because they have already shipped the software and it's FOB shipping. So both of these are pretty valid arguments. With Sarah's argument, then, that it is until the agreement of the sale. So this sale, then it had two parts to it. One was what they were delivering, and the other part was what they sold the other vendor. Then they were also giving something in return. And so, along with the cash. And so Sarah's argument is that until the agreement of the sale, until they've received their part of it as well, then the revenue should not be recognized until it's been completed on both ends. So this will push the recognition of the revenue till next year, but then Paul's argument is that because the software is shipped FOB shipping, then they should recognize the revenue in the current year. So both of these are valid arguments in my mind. The company I work for now, then they record sales FOB shipping, but the sales that we make don't have these extra details in it as well. So what's at stake with Solutions Network? Then it hits projected revenue, income, and like all the goals that they set for that year. It also will increase the net income by $1 million. Then Paul Henley, Sarah Young, and the other executives will get a bonus as well for hitting the projections. But if Sarah Young does not go along with it and stands up for what she thinks is right, then she has a potential to lose her job. And so the auditors that will be coming to audit them may not agree with the accounting for the sale in the previous year because it's kind of blurring the lines of the cutoff assumption made by management. So all around, this kind of seems like a win for all the parties. The catch is that by recording the sale in the current year, this violates the cutoff assumption that all sales are recorded in the correct periods. So the argument can be made, though, that because it is FOB shipping, the sale could be recorded, but sales should not be recorded until the agreement has been completed. And if that agreement includes then two parties providing a part of a contract, then it should not be recorded until both parties have fulfilled their obligations in that contract. So to be in accordance with GAAP and provide accurate financials of revenue recognition and fulfill that cutoff obligation that management has, then they should not recognize the sale in the current year. It should be delayed until the following year. So with Sarah's decision, there's a few things. The previous year there was an issue kind of like this too, and so that could influence her decision. So there's also additional levers that she could kind of use and rationalizations to help her in her argument. And then what if the executives came to her and said just be a team player, like we all get bigger bonuses, like you included, and so just be a team player instead of $1 million of revenue, and it's kind of blurred and the argument can be made to recognize in the current year. So the entry that was made in the previous year, then it was a questionable entry concerning the cutoff assertion as well. And she was worried that this is kind of becoming a pattern for the company, that maybe they're starting to do this. And so she doesn't feel comfortable going along with that. And so I believe the previous year decision should influence her, the previous year's entry should influence her decision this current year. And it should enforce her stand in that this entry should not be made in the current year. And if the CFO does not back off, I believe she could make a great argument because her position is backed by the accounting standards. I believe that a position that is backed by truth and strong standards will trump positions created that have no real standing, which is what the CFO is standing on, is we just get bigger bonuses and we hit our goals. But hers are on accounting standards, revenue recognition, the cutoff assertion made by management, as well as the auditing standards that the auditors will be looking for when they come to audit their financials. And I believe that she should still hold her position, even if all the executives tell her to be a team player. I think when she makes a strong argument to the CFO, as well as to other executives, then when people say to be a team player, then it's usually not ethically good to be a team player. Usually it's trying to get them to go along with something that maybe isn't the best decision. So, but I believe that if she makes her case to the CFO and other executives and other team members, then the ones who have strong moral courage will back her and will help strengthen her position to make the entry in the following year and not the current year.